With the announcement of Truss's full cabinet, you know, we now get to see what policies are going to come from this. Ultimately, what has been put forward by Truss and her cabinet is a cabinet of loyalties and those who are appealing to the same ideology that Truss appeals to. And it has been said already that even though people like Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng are apparently always saying, oh, we're going to question the orthodoxy, we're going to challenge the conventional wisdom, I cannot seem to find a single time that either Liz Truss or Kwasi Kwarteng challenged the orthodoxy and brought in new, fresh ideas, because what seems to be being pushed by Truss and now Kwarteng, who is now the Chancellor of the Exchequer, the guy in charge of the money, all they seem to be bringing in is the exact same policy that Cameron and Osborne brought in during their time. And this goes down to they are ideologically driven. As far as they are concerned, this is the path they see forward. This is what what should be working, shall we say. And that is what they want to follow. That is what they hope should work. But the thing is, we've seen it doesn't work. So why are you so determined to follow this path? But they truly believe that we deviated from that path, and that's why we are in the mess we are in. So we've got Kwarteng in, and we are looking at a couple of massive economic problems. We are looking at a recession. He's got inflation to deal with. You've got the problem of that the pound and the dollar might be reaching parity, which is going to certainly cause a lot of problems economically for many companies over here, especially those that, buy oil, because guess what oil is sold in? It's sold in dollars. We've got a lot of problems, and I'll tell you now, this idea of, growth will solve everything, well, I do not think this is going to work very well at all. So, before we go over today's news story, please do remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And of course, down below, there are links to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can, buy me coffee. And of course, there is the one-off donation link as well called the YouTube thank you button, which is also down below, down here somewhere. And of course, there is the YouTube subscription where you can join the Pony Club, where you get badges, emojis, and even a free super chat a month that you can use. So, as always, thank you very much to all those people who do help and support the channel, even if you do just press the like and share button. So today we're going over to the Yorkshire Post. Again, it's been a while since we've covered anything from the Yorkshire Post. But to be honest, I saw this and I thought this really sums up our new Chancellor. So, like I said, this comes from the Yorkshire Post. News you can trust since 1754. So their title is Kwasi Kwarteng's attempts to start another Tory economic reboot won't wash. The current business secretary, Kwasi Kwarteng, is expected to make a step under. Is expected to make the step up under the new Liz Truss administration. There we go. Since the Brexit referendum result in June 2016 overturned the political order, the nation's finances have been the responsibility of Philip Hammond, who resigned and rather serve under Boris Johnson; Sajid Javid, who again resigned after Boris Johnson reportedly wanted him to fire all of his aides; and then Rishi Sunak, who resigned over Boris Johnson's conduct. And of course, Nadhim Zawawi, who told Boris Johnson to resign a day after being appointed. It's fair to say there has been a common theme with the political demises of our most recent chancellors. But despite that context, Mr. Kwarteng appears to have taken an immediate leaf out of Boris Johnson's political playbook. Back in 2019, Mr. Johnson managed to great effect to present himself and his Tory party as a, quote, new government which rejected the austerity measures of the Cameron years and negotiating the caution of the May era and forming a combination of levelling up and spending promises and the buccaneering approach to breaking the deadlock with the EU to get Brexit done. On both counts, it is deeply questionable whether the reality has actually matched the rhetoric. But from a presentation perspective, there is little doubt that Mr. Johnson did achieve his electoral aims. Mr. Kwarteng has signalled a very similar PR approach in an opinion piece for the Financial Times ahead of his likely coronation as Chancellor, which he has been confirmed today as, by the way, just so you know. Yes, the man who has been in Parliament since 2010, has served in ministerial roles since 2017, and been business secretary for almost 2 years, is now arguing that it is the time to do away with, quote, the same old economic marginalism that has left us with a stagnating economy and anemic growth. But even with a new economic approach based on cutting taxes, because that's all they know how to do, let's face it, and deregulation, of course, tax cuts and deregulation, the right-wing approach to anything, it appears unlikely that voters will buy the idea that Truss and Kwarteng are unleashing a new political era, particularly when so many of the faces around the cabinet will be Johnson loyalists, which turned out not to be so much true. There are, I think, a couple of Johnson loyalists in there, but most of them, if anything, are more Truss loyalists. But we'll also have to see, because there are still, again, a couple of familiar faces, like Trevelyan's still in there. Nadeem Zawawi's still in there. So, yeah, there are still a couple of Johnson loyalists in there. Mr. Kwarteng also notes that the country is facing a toxic combination of the highest tax rate in 70 years and a sluggish labour productivity, growing at just 0.4% a year since the financial crisis. Whatever arguments for correcting the mistakes of the past, most reasonable voters will weigh up those toxic issues alongside the fact that it is the Conservative Party that has been in power for 12 years. And Mr. Kwarteng says that Liz Truss will aim to get the country to at least 2.5% annual growth, delivering higher wages, more vibrant high streets, and better futures for young people. But after 12 years of effectively being told that things are bad now, but will get better in an undefined point in the future, which is, of course, what, Johnson has been doing all his premiership of, yeah, things are bad now, but, wait for it, they'll be jam tomorrow. Mr. Kwarteng may come to find that yet another promise of jam tomorrow, what a Yorkshire saying, will no longer wash with the nation's voters. And I think that is true. I think the target of 2.5% annual growth is incredibly hard to do. Incredibly hard to do. I do not think they will be able to do it. And especially going for tax cuts and deregulation. Well, what exactly are you going to deregulate? Are you going to deregulate the labour market? Are you going to go after workers' rights? We know back when he came in as business secretary, he made some noises about getting rid of the Working Time Directive. But when there was a pushback against getting rid of it, he dropped it. So could that now be back on the table? It is a possibility. But the idea that we are going to sort of, don't worry, guys, we're going to do these things. We're going to, deregulate the market and then tax cuts. And remember, most businesses do not want these deregulations. These businesses, all going all the way back to 2016, have continuously said, we don't want these deregulations. Remember, Boris Johnson's big cabinet meeting he brought together of all these big business leaders saying, hey, what regulations do you want me to get rid of? All turn around and basically said, yeah, don't change a single thing because it will make it harder to trade with our largest trading partner. So as always, we'll keep an eye on this, but yeah, I don't think it's going to get very good, but we'll see what he's got to say in the next coming days. But as always, thank you very much for watching. And of course, we'll see you all next time.